Yep, recording in progress. Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm your host, Junor Francis, alongside producer and my good friend for many, many decades, Eric Kohler. Now, this series celebrates and aims to preserve and promote the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene here in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversations with legends and modern-day talents, including those behind the scenes. And we have lots of people working behind the scenes. So whether you listen to this podcast series or watch us on YouTube, we want to say many thanks for your support, your ongoing support, and it's your obligation and your responsibility to tell others about this podcast. On this special episode rather, we present part 3 of our Boss DJs Roundtable. We welcome 4 of the top DJs in the Southern California scene. Boss Harmony, David Orlando. His parents christened him as Avon. Mr. Ian Olivera, Miss Ivy Satana, and last but definitely not least, Soul Station number 1, Donald Lewis. How you all doing?
Yes.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for joining us, everyone. It's great to see you all. And for those I've not met before, wonderful to meet you. As we mentioned off air, we definitely want to help celebrate the scene and learn about each of you. And we're going to dive right in here. This is a question for each one of you. What do you enjoy the most and what do you enjoy the least about DJing? And Ivy, let's start with you.
The most, seeing the people sweaty, dancing, losing control, singing with their eyes closed to the tunes or getting their romance on the dance floor. To me, that's top. And maybe out of place requests when people don't really get what the vibe is for the party or what the kind of music is for the party, and they come in with this outlandish request for something way out of place, like I don't know, at a great boss reggae party, someone coming in to request Metallica or something like that, something that doesn't go, will not go, and we will not honor that request at all for absolutely no reason.
Right. I like that. Very cool. Ian, what about you?
Something I enjoy, the same thing. I'm a dancer, and I like to see the same faces in different places. That's always really enjoyable. Pet peeve, maybe. Uh, what do you do when it's a bad night compared to when it's a good night? You prepared and you almost did the exact same thing. So it's just continuing going. It's a numbers thing, I think, sometimes, and giving it your all, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. Donald, Soul Station number 1. What about you?
I would say I love discovering music and discovering vibes. Every time you DJ, it's like, I originally set out playing this song, going to this song, but then you feel the vibe go, I gotta switch it up. The energy's feeling this in this particular room, and it's the art of improvisation. I just love not knowing what to get into, discovering what's happening in the moment. That's what I love about DJing. And I have to reiterate what Ivy said earlier is requests. Drunken requests is something I do not like. Play this, play that, man. Free bird, got some free bird.
I like that. Yeah. And Dave, what about you?
Oh, well, I can definitely relate to, what a little bit of what everybody said. Nowadays, because things have changed as far as DJing, because I've done a lot of different scenes, I guess, over the years. Nowadays, it's always been great building the vibe in the club by playing a nice warm up, and getting everybody in the groove and everything that comes after, playing exciting new records for myself, and testing them out. And just creating a mood and a timeline that everybody's ends up clapping for. That's always really a bonus too. As far as what I dislike,
Or pet
I
peeve?
don't like people. I don't like people walking off the dance floor. Especially if it's something that I was. I mean, I get excited about every record I play, but if it's something that as I said, I'm trying out and it doesn't get a great reaction, that sucks.
Yeah.
Especially if one of those $500 records. Yeah?
Waited 2 weeks for it.
Junior. Yeah.
Yes. So, Boss Harmony, while you're talking, let's get some background on each one of you, where you were born, raised, and so forth and so on.
Okay, you want me to start?
But since you were talking, we just continue with you.
I was born in Rome, Italy. Came to the States when I was about 9 years old. Lived all over Los Angeles, and just been here ever since. Here settled now in Silver Lake. Yeah.
I don't hear an Italian accent, but that.
No, well, that gone a long time, but it is my first language.
Wow. I
You,
did not know that.
You still
Yeah.
remember?
Huh?
You can still speak Italian?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was looking forward to meeting Alberosi so I could just go up to him and go, "Ciao bello, ma che..."
yeah.
But he didn't. I didn't even see him. I didn't talk to him.
Yeah. Lots of people from what I saw, everyone was taking pictures. He's a very friendly guy. He's from South Italy.
Yes. Yeah. I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Who else want to respond?
Ivy, what about you?
I was born in the Sonora Desert, but I was brought to Tijuana when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I grew up here, been here ever since. Haven't really moved anywhere.
And is here Tijuana?
Yes, Tijuana.
Mhm.
This is where I call my hometown. If I go back to Sonora, I don't really know a lot of places. And Tijuana, I know it like the back of my hand.
Nice.
Volunteer.
Arnold.
Hey, let's see. I was born in Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. My dad was in the Air Force, and Vandenberg is located right there between like Santa Maria and Lompoc. I guess that'd be Central California. And then moved to Germany from the 1st to 3rd grade.
Wow.
And then lived in Oklahoma, Southern Oklahoma, a place called Altus, Oklahoma, from 4th to the beginning of 8th grade.
Wow.
And then I moved back to California, lived in Hawthorne for my 8th grade year. And then after that, I moved to San Pedro from my 9th grade year. And pretty much I've been staying in San Pedro since then.
Fantastic.
One excursion in Torrance for a little while, but came back to Pedro.
How long were you in Germany?
3 years.
Okay. Speaking of German?
Kleine. Very little.
Home of the Minutemen, San Pedro.
Yeah, for sure. I played with Watt and Iggy Pop cover band for a little while.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Did a whole bunch of Stooges covers. That was fun.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Ian?
No escape.
No escape. I'm from Mexico City, and then I avoided the earthquake over there in '85, and then I moved to LA, and then I avoided the earthquake over here. I'm just a lucky guy, and now I'm in LA.
You didn't go in LA?
What do you mean you avoided it? You like jumped over a crack in the floor?
Like my parents were splitting up, and my dad took me to Mexico like the month before.
Wait,
And-
so before which quake? Was it the Northridge?
No,
Yeah, the Northridge
That's the
earthquake.
one.
Yeah.
Huge.
No, I was thinking about the one here in LA.
Oh,
The Northridge.
That was the Northridge one. In Mexico, there was an earthquake, Mexico City in '85.
yeah.
Right.
So
That was huge.
And now you call home where?
LA, like north. I live right here, and I stay like just north of like Silver Lake,
Right.
and yeah,
Give us
And
a heads up before you move, in case
So we know
in case
earthquake
we
is
need to
coming.
prepare for something.
yeah, I'll be going out of town next week, guys.
Excuse me one moment.
yeah.
Go get your
He's gonna.
Food's here.
Yeah. Now I go back to Tijuana, back and forth like a few times a month, and
Okay.
it's a lot of fun. We're gonna be going to the Pioneers thing later on,
Mhm.
Mexico City.
Well, if you don't have deep pocket and can't afford that expensive vacation, they'll be in Pomona,
Yes.
October 20th, a Friday night.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
With
Or
the
you can
mighty
do
reunion, huh?
Huh?
The reunion of
There's
Mobtown?
three. It's a three.
Yes.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, and to your regret, they won't be united. Mobtown won't be reuniting in Mexico.
I saw Mobtown in Pomona in '96 with the specials.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
man,
96.
that was back in the day.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
But
next
I would love to see Mobtown, man.
But what's gonna
Unforgettable.
you will love to as if you're gonna miss the show?
Well, when is it? What's the day? What's the date? Junior, what's the day?
October
October
28th.
20th.
It's a Friday.
Oh,
So
that's doable.
5 months to plan.
Yeah, that's like laying
A
an egg and sitting
lifetime.
on it.
Show business is a
A
lifetime.
lifetime.
With your income, disposable fund at your disposal.
Adjustable, sliding scale income.
Right.
So, Miss Ivy, can you make it across the border to the show?
Not anymore. My visa just expired this year in January,
Oh,
and
oh,
the appointments for renewals are super far ahead, like 2024. So more than likely, I won't be able to renew
So was
my
it
visa in
carelessness on your
time.
part so that it expire?
I'm sorry?
Was it carelessness on your part to let your document expire?
No, it expired right after everything picked up with after the pandemic.
Oh.
And even if I had booked my renewal date 6 months before the expiration date, which is the limit, the appointments are really far ahead in the future, because everything froze for about 2 years because of the pandemic. So everything that wasn't done during those 2 years is barely getting done right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's too bad.
Eric, roller question.
Oh, yes. Next question. So again, for all of you, Ivy, let's start with you. Do you recall that moment when you first discovered Jamaican music?
Yes.
If so, when and what was the artist or song?
The first time I was about 10 or 11 years old. There were this bunch of skinheads that would hang out at my house because my older sister best friend, she was living with us. She got kicked out of her house, and my mom took her in. She was living with us for almost a year, I think. And her boyfriend was a skinhead here. So one time he came into the house, just, I don't know, to get something from the kitchen. And I was listening to like a 70s compilation, just like super hits from the 70s or something like that, that my mom had laying around. And he was like, "Hey, you like music from the 70s? The best music from the 70s, you might not even know it. You might not see it in this compilation. Let me show you." And he started making mixtapes for me. And it showed all of these amazing different kinds of music, different kinds of scenes. He showed me punk, straight punk, reggae, Jamaican music, two-tone, uh, all sorts of music. Because it didn't really have an order. It was just like a mixtape of, I guess, everything he liked back then. And I didn't really know any of the context for any of the music. He just said, if you like this, you might like this, and that's where I started to just get into the music. Later on, when I was more of a teenager, because we're still friends. This was maybe 96, 95 or 96. We're still friends. He took me to my very first show. And I don't know, he taught me a lot about music, a lot about different kinds of scenes, different kind of music, not just what he liked, I guess.
Right.
Um,
So that was your first exposure to Jamaican music, but were those mixtapes?
yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Mixtape means cassette.
yes,
We don't
yes.
even know what that is.
True.
Yeah, most kids don't even know how to work a cassette player.
It's true. Donald, what about you?
I was thinking about it. The first time I heard Jamaican music was I was in the third grade in Germany, and I was watching TV, and there was a bunch of kids that came across a screen. They're all playing instruments.
What
and they
year?
were and they were singing a song about passing the dochi.
Yeah.
And Musical Youth was the very first group and very first song I heard that was any type of from the country, from the great land of Jamaica.
Yes.
That was my very first exposure to that reggae music.
That was
And then I had that record until I moved back to LA. And then my second exposure was my buddy who went to the same school I went to, Hamilton, Anton Morales from Ska. He said, "You're from Pedro. I'm gonna give you a tape." He gave me a Minutemen tape, and then actually it was a Fire Hose tape, and then a Fishbone tape.
Wow.
And then I heard Fishbone, Truth and Soul, and I was like, "Oh man, I like these brothers a lot." And then I heard their influences were P-Funk and the Scatolites. And me being a horn player, I was like, "Let me see both these bands." And as soon as I heard Scatolites Stretching Out, oh, I fell in love with the sound. I go, "Oh, I love this. I love this music." I got hooked ever since.
And you had already been playing sax?
Yes.
Right.
Starting in the 6th grade elementary school,
Oh, wow.
basic, band stuff.
Right. Yeah. Dave, what about you?
Actually, for me, it was the Scatolites as well, man. I had probably heard some popular reggae music when I was a kid, but I remember becoming really just enamored by hearing the Scatolites the first time, which happened on a show on KXLU called Skank Shaft back at, I don't know, I suppose this is like 88 maybe, something like that.
Do you remember
And
the DJ name by chance?
I don't remember his name, but he was great. The show was basically planted the seed for Punky Reggae Party because he was playing all kinds of stuff like everything from the Jam to old mod soul stuff, JJ Jackson, and then when the Scatolites came on, I remember the tune. It was Lucky 7.
Yeah.
I had been recording it on a cassette, right? And I was just like, what is this? And I remember going to school the next day and putting the headphones on everybody's head going, have you ever heard anything like this? Like, what is this?
It's a good tune, man.
It really, really blew me away. So that was really the seed that was planted for me, was the Scatolites, hearing that on a radio in LA on KXLU.
Wow.
And you, as a matter of fact, you work on KXLU for a number of years, right?
Yeah, yes, I would do the Punky Reggae Party show there, filling in for my friend who did a show called Part-Time Punks.
And is your friend still there?
He is, every Thursday.
Every
Yeah.
Thursday.
Amazing show. A lot of great stuff.
Junior, you sound like the guy that's on Saturday nights.
Yeah, my friend in Canada said she heard him.
That's really cool. And since Dave, you and Donald both mentioned Scatolites, we should give our respect and appreciation and love
Lester
and
Sterling.
condolences to Lester Sterling, who we just lost. Oh,
17.
Absolutely.
And we know he was ill for some time. So, but yeah, talk about making a mark, right?
Oh,
Incredible.
unbelievable. And so
Yeah.
many songs.
Yeah. very
You know,
much
when
so.
Really
when-
grateful to have had him play at the Dub Club
Yeah.
a couple times
Yeah.
with Satellites
Yeah.
there.
Indeed.
But he was here when he was there when the music transition from rocksteady to from rocksteady to reggae. Stranger Called Bangarang. That was one of the first
one of the
songs.
really
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, some of those books that you read about, you know, how reggae starts, you should ignore them. Most Jamaicans ignore them because they know they're not accurate. But Sterling and Stranger Called, one of the first songs
Yeah.
that came out.
Yes.
That was the transition.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Ian.
So good. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. First time I heard anything like it was Maldita Vecindad and you know who else? Los Cadillacs. They had the Matador song that won the Latin Grammy in '93. I thought, okay, that kind of sounds like it. Then I think I heard but I started getting into like the third wave stuff, you know, like the Voodoo Glow Skulls and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I picked up a copy of a Ska Mania, like a High Bop Ska or something like that. It was a Scatolites like CD, you know, and it's all these old people. High Bop Ska, yeah.
Hi, Bob Scott.
And some tunes in there, you know, like Laurel Aitken singing on them, and I go like, where do these guys get off like mixing jazz with ska and like where do they get off and like little did I know it's like that like the original musicians, you know, just like living the best years of their lives at the end, you know. And I don't know if Jackie Me Too made it onto that one, but then I got a copy of the session they did in '83, and he stole the tapes, and finally they brought him back, and but definitely the Scatolites for me is a big deal, big deal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Some common ground here. That's amazing.
You're not kidding. So, now describe the scene when you first started frequenting clubs. You're no ministers. You used to nightclubs. So, now can I ask when you first started visiting clubs? What was the scene like?
Ian, do you
Keep
want to
going? Yeah, when I was a kid, we would go see 18, like anything we could get into before we were 18, you know, like that one in '96, the specials came down for Halloween or something like that, and I got to go see Mob Town and a few other bands. I think Hepcat, just you know, everybody was there in Pomona, and I got to see Hepcat again in '98. It was like little places we could get into. Then by the time I finally could go to clubs, it was like the Knitting Factory. But in the valley, there's always like if you were a little band and you're starting out, there's at the edge of the valley, there was a place called the Cobalt Cafe, and it's right next to this British pub right there. But a lot of bands like cut their teeth right there in the valley, and you know.
What's the name of the club again?
It was called the Cobalt Cafe, and it's next to the Scotland Yard British pub. It's in Canoga Park. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boss Harmony, what was the scene like so when you first started?
You mean first started actually DJing?
Yeah, man. And when you started going to clubs, I guess.
Oh, well, yeah,
legal age.
There's years difference between that. When I started going out to clubs, I was only like 16, 17, going to and
your fake ID.
Yeah. I remember sneaking into the King on La Brea. Joey Altrudo was the musical director there in those days.
Wow.
And I remember sneaking in and seeing Jumbo Joey play, and a blues band, I think called Red Devils, I think they were called. Those were the days. Later, you know, and around the same time, there was a club in the valley called the Reseda Country Club, and I used to go to that too with some friends and see all kinds of crazy punk bands there, but also a lot of fun ska shows. And yeah, those were the beginnings there.
Donnell, when you first started frequenting club.
Probably like around the same age as Boss, like 15, 16 years of age. Um, I went to a music school up in LA from Pedro. So I had a couple of buddies who played in bands and I'd watch them. I had a good friend who was in this band called Grandpa Knucklehead.
I remember them.
Grandpa Knucklehead and Section 8 back in those
Yeah.
days. And I would sneak off to go to LA to watch them play all the time. And
Wow.
who else I would see? Fishbone, of course, a lot of Fishbone
Yeah.
shows. Let's Go Bowling back in the days.
Right.
Orange
Yeah.
Street back in the days. And yeah, that'd be like what, the Whiskey, Natural
Yeah.
Fudge Factory, like that little bar that UCLA had, places like that, you know, backyard parties.
Coconut teaser.
Coconut teaser, yeah.
So some of those shows were
Anti-Club.
Blackpool and early Steady Beat, or even before, I guess.
Before, yeah. I didn't hear about those Blackpool shows until after I graduated high school.
Okay.
So I think he was just starting to do stuff up in LA, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Miss Ivy? Oh, no, complete the thought.
No, please,
Miss
Ivy,
Ivy.
yeah.
When you started going to clubs, what the scene was like?
The
that's
scene
in
in
TJ,
TJ,
right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, that was in TJ.
Yeah, in TJ. The scene in TJ was very mixed at that time. Everyone would go to every kind of show, and since I mean it's TJ, so carting at the door is an option, but not all of the time. And if you just walk in with the confidence that you're the promoter or you're on the bill or something, they won't ask for the card. They'll just let you in, even if you look like you are 12 years old. So I started frequenting the same venues, the same clubs, the same places where I knew they would have different kinds of gigs all the time. So since they knew my face, they assumed that I was 18 and was an adult. So I would get in everywhere. So if one promoter saw me at one venue and if they saw me at another one, they would just let me in because, again, they would assume. So I got to see a lot of like the late 90s to early 2000s like ska punk scene that was really like thriving in TJ at that time. um it was it was all over the place. You would see like preppy kids, punk kids, just whoever at all of those shows. It wasn't so segregated. I feel like right now it's more about having to have all the things and presenting yourself in a certain way uh at every show, and that kind of segregates a little bit the people, because a lot of them feel like if they don't look the part, they can't enjoy the music, which is just absolutely backwards. Who cares what you're wearing? Just stomp on the dance floor, enjoy the music, feel it.
Indeed, yeah.
We did a couple of shows down there. The biggest one was with Pat Kelly. Were you in attendance?
Yeah, I was there. That was like 2012,
13.
I want to say, around 2012. Yeah.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ivy, do you remember some of you mentioned some ska punk bands. Do you remember which ones you might have seen back then?
Well, there were a lot. The Skunks, Los Karma, Kung Fu Monkeys, Voodoo Glow Skulls were practically locals. They would come every couple of months. A lot of bands that don't really exist anymore. The Skunks were a really, really great one. They broke up. I think one of the guys from the band, he went to live or to study in Cuba, I think. So a lot of these bands were present for maybe 2-3 years in TJ. Then they died out, and new bands came along. Back then, it was a lot of people, a lot of young kids, a lot of skater kids trying to find their tribe, trying to build their subculture and networking and within different scenes. So it was everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Mhm.
Dave, I had a follow-up question. You mentioned the Reseda Country Club, and sadly, I never had a chance to go there. But who were some of the bands that you saw early on there?
Probably a lot of the bands that were mentioned earlier. I mean, you want to hear something crazy?
Yes,
I was going to Reseda High, and my English teacher, her name was Mrs. Moore, and the way she spoke and the name and her face, went up to her after the first day in class, and I said, "Do you have a son named Angelo?" Said, "Why, yes." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm a huge fan of your son's band, right? Fishbone." And she was like, "Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, he comes to the school sometimes and he does miming for the kids and this and that." I was like,
oh,
wow.
that's so wild.
So she was a great teacher. Angelo would come to my school, and I got to meet him, and me and him would then became friends. We were hanging out, like walking around the campus and everything. It was really cool.
It's really cool. That's a
Yeah,
great story.
right. Many years ago.
So yeah, I saw Fishbone at the country club. I saw Bad Brains at the country club. I saw a lot of ska bands like Hepcat, Dancehall Crashers. I saw Hepcat at the Reseda Country Club. I think it was their second show ever. I think their first show was at a house party, is what Alex told me. But so the one at the Reseda Country Club, where I think they opened for Roland Alfonso, Joey put together a band. I think it was Jump with Joey, but then Roland Alfonso was the featured artist, and Hepcat did their first. Hepcat did their first club show that night, and that was one I saw there, which was amazing. They totally blew me away, as I'm sure many other people too. Because because a lot of the ska bands at that time, were really had that hyper jumpy sound. And when Hepcat hit the stage, and you had Greg and Alex up there, Destin, there was just a soulful groove going on that was really, you got right away that, oh, this is really connected to the original sound.
Yes.
So that was a joy,
Indeed.
Amazing.
Hepcat's show at the Reseda Country Club was a huge one for me. Also meeting Roland Alfonso the same night.
Right.
Wow, okay.
I went up to him and I said, "Hey, I was towering over him,
Right.
Even though I was young, he was still a small guy. And I said, "I love your music." And he reached up and patted me on the head and said, "Oh, thank you, my son."
That's so great.
So sweet.
Yeah, he was a cool guy,
He
man. He was a
the
cool
best,
guy.
indeed.
Yeah, he used to a lot in New York.
Great memory, that show. So
You would
Roll
imagine.
that, roll that. Mhm.
That's amazing.
So why did you all become DJ? Two-part question. And was it around the same time you began collecting records? Because you have to collect in order to be a DJ. Well, do you have to?
maybe
No,
not anymore.
Right, no, you can use it.
Are you a purist or not?
But since you guys are old school, so let's old school DJs.
Ian,
Still using records.
right. Ian, why don't you kick it off?
Oh, okay, so the question again is, why did you go into DJing? How did you go into DJing?
Yeah, or did DJ find you, or did you?
Okay. So I always like music. I always spend my money on music. During the CD era, you take your CD to the counter, they open it up, you could listen to it for like 10 minutes, right? But like I really didn't do well back then. And the CD format, I thrashed my collection, like I still have like all the paper artwork and all stuff from my
look at
original first collection. But when Amoeba moved into town, like somebody said, buy these few LPs, and it was King Tubby, what is it? the Rockers, the Scatolites, and a couple other things.
Talk
And
about the Augustus Pablo record, yeah, Rockery.
yeah, yeah, and I started mixing that stuff. I got some gear, and then I put it away for a while, and I always wanted to have those turntables out. I still wanted to look for stuff and look for stuff and look for stuff. And then, I go see David play all the time over here at Punky Reggae Party, and then Marv Mack, and all the like the all-nighters and stuff like that. And real curious why they only play like 45s, and but you start to look for tunes like 45 sometimes is like the only way to get them. So yeah, and then
So you literally use a sledgehammer to break up your CDs.
which one?
So you literally use a sledgehammer to break your CDs.
Well, no, it's because you lay them down and then they get scratched. Like what? Like you flip them upside down. You have them in your car. Like no respect for the CD. You don't have respect. You have respect for a record. Like I don't know. That's just me.
That's a fair point. Nice. Ivy?
For me, I kind of just fell into DJing because I was putting together shows, because I found in my teen years that not all the promoters that were bringing bands were bringing the kinds of bands that I wanted to listen to, or they weren't putting the kinds of shows that I wanted to go to. So I started just looking in the back of records, looking in the flyers for contact information. Back then you had to write a letter, put it in the mail, ask the band to, hey, if you're ever in this side of the world, you can hit me up and I'll do my best to put on a show for you. And maybe wait a couple of months for another letter to come back saying, sure, we'll keep you in mind, or who are you? Thank you for this. Here's a sticker. But in some of those instances, it worked. And I got hey, we'll hit you up. And they did. And I just started putting shows together when I was 16. But I didn't like the kind of music that they would have at bars and venues, and I didn't like having to deal with people putting money in the jukebox and not wanting to turn off the jukebox before their song came on, but the band was about to come on. So it was a struggle. So I just started bringing my own music to the shows, and I would play in between bands. And if one of the bands was late or they missed, I would do like an extended set, I guess. And after that, I started getting invited to different parties, and I started putting together the subculture clash parties, where I would ask one selector from different subcultures to play 1 hour each. So everyone would come together and into this big party, and everyone would mingle and listen and be exposed to different things, because that's what I ultimately want in my scene, to have unity between the different subcultures and not have it so segregated. So I don't know. After that, a lot of bands didn't really want to come to TJ because there were a couple of years where TJ got really bad regarding like cartel violence, and people didn't want to come here. No one wanted to go out. No one wanted to throw parties. No one really wanted to touch TJ, even if they were on tour and they were playing cities that were nearby. They wouldn't want to come to TJ. So I started throwing just dance parties, DJ parties, selectors, sound system parties, theme parties, everything, so I could kind of keep the scene that I loved alive, and keep people interested in discovering different kinds of music and dancing to them.
Amazing. That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. Donald?
I've always wanted to be a DJ ever since I saw the movie Beat Street. I saw the
Ah,
movie Beat Street. I was like, I want to do that. I want to rock crowds.
that's
But
why I
not-
wanted to become a breaker. Me and you got a lot in common, man.
There you go. Well, I saw Kenny rocking. Was like, follow me at this club to play this club. But not fast forward to many, many years later, when I actually can afford my own turntables, considering playing all my stuff on a record player per se, was probably like around 2000. Bought my first two techniques and was always make mixtapes myself, you know, via cassette tapes or like record cassette or, you know, getting stuff off the radio, whatnot. But I actually messed with turntables around that time. I joined this band called Chingus Dominguez, and the guitar player was looking for a DJ to scratch. So I could scratch a little bit, but then we'd play parties and goes, "Do you mind spinning some of your collection?" Because I've been collecting since the third grade records, like just music in general. So I said, bring about like a 45-minute set or something. I was like, okay. And that's where I really started digging and putting sets together for shows and whatnot. And then after that, around 2008, I think after Steady Beat came out of a little hiatus, we started that club in La Mita, Club Faya. And that's when I really started digging into my Jamaican set and started digging into the ska, my rocksteady, my reggae. Because before that, I was just hodgepodge, just party jams, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But around 2008, I started really homing in on the Jamaican sound per se with those set lists.
Why was that so? Why did you focus specifically?
Because it was a reggae club that we were doing down in La Mita. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just trying to set the vibe there.
And in 2000, when you bought your techniques, were the Allentons on hiatus? Like, were you consciously wanting to potentially take that transition from a sole musician or primary musician to a DJ?
Well,
Allentons were always playing, and
Monty.
Yeah.
99. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were already playing, but just actually getting on a stage,
right?
Bringing my crates and going, this is what I'm gonna spin this for the people. Was around that time period.
Yeah, nice. And Dave, sorry if your breakdancing career didn't.
No, that movie was really inspiring to me. Beat Street, actually. Yeah, a little breakdancing crew, and
that's a good one.
Looking for all the cardboards around, huh?
Oh yeah.
So that's where to become a DJ came from?
No. I guess I just always love, I love music. So I got into that. That was the 80s. I was just a kid. Me and my buddy, we'd throw the cardboard down and bust out the Houdini tape. My sister was just making fun of me the other day. Like, she was like, "Oh, I used to drive us crazy doing head spins in the living room."
but you still didn't know just the question when exactly what made you, I am going to become a DJ. Not necessarily focusing on one genre.
For you, Dave, yeah.
You're asking me now.
Right. No, well, that's essentially that was the question.
The DJ thing probably started with making people mixtapes on cassettes. Love interests and friends, and I'd always have so much fun putting together like DJing, making the experience of listening have peaks and valleys and whatever, and experience different sounds, whatever. So yeah, the mixtape started it, and then just getting into the records. I remember in last 2 years of high school, a friend had some decks, and I'd go over there after school and attempt to make actual mixed tapes just for myself to listen back to, because I was starting to learn how to sort of blend the tunes, make them come after one another in a way that was cohesive in some way. So that happened pretty early on, I guess. So yeah, mixing hip hop was a lot easier. What really what really honed my skills was when I started mixing loose music like funk, like James Brown records and New Orleans records, things like that. Because the beat was moving, they'd come off a beat. It wasn't synced,
Right.
So that was, I thought, anybody that started DJing, I would always say to them as advice, learn to mix with real music. Not that hip hop, I'm just mean like real drummers is what I mean.
Right.
Real recorded drummers.
Yeah.
Because then you'll learn, it'll just hone your skills to where the beat won't fall off. You'll know whether to spin it back or forward when it's moving,
Yes.
So that's how I learned, was just making mixtapes.
Yeah. Great advice, Dave. So Dave, we're going to stick with you. This is going to be a tough question. So you and Tom Chastain obviously curate and DJ and run the world famous Dub Club. You just came off a great weekend with Alberosi there. You also do Punky Reggae Party, Bamboo, and a number of other club nights. Can you just share a few of your personal highlights and favorites? Whether it's, I know it's a tough one.
No, sorry, I was laughing because my cat is angry with me because she wants to be fed and she's leaping off of me while we're doing this.
You can.
Sorry, stop that.
You attacked on air by a cat. You can
hold on 1 second. Yeah.
Of course.
So
what
question to someone else?
Feed the cat while you.
Sorry, I just let her out.
Oh, there you go. All right. Yeah. So just some personal highlights, whether it's because of certain guest, performances or whatever the case may be, but just reflect back on some favorable nights over the years or different guest appearances or artists that you've.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, for Dub Club, I could one sticks out. Oh, so many actually. I mean,
you could write a book.
No, I
kid you not.
know.
so many amazing shows. Well, we have Leroy Sibley's coming back soon.
Yeah.
His show was great. I would say how many. I don't remember. Junior, maybe remember how many years ago that first that first Leroy Sibley show was?
When the Lions back in.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that was great.
2016.
I mean, let's see. Ketis I with Chenna Smith.
Wow, right.
Was like incredible.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. I remember we had the background was just used to have this DVD of just the cosmos. So we had like this space just changing color and moving, and Ketis I and the band sounding exactly like he did in the movie Rockers. It was just incredible night. Israel Vibration blew my mind the first time I saw them.
That came to mind. That one came to mind.
So beautiful.
Came to mind.
I mean, really, there's so many Dub Club shows that were amazing. A lot of dance hall artists were fantastic. Having Rankin Joe come and just destroy it for hours. I have a great memory actually of in the early days of HR from Bad Brains coming to the club, and he got on the mic while I was DJing, so I got to select some instrumentals for him.
Nice.
And that's on YouTube somewhere.
Well, I'll have to check that.
That was cool. He was really excited about the fact that it was going on. It was at the Echo at that time.
Right.
And he got on the mic. He had a great time. The next week, he came back in a crazy outfit. He had his pants on inside out. And he had like this wild jacket and a turban on, right? And sunglasses, and he was singing about like psychedelic disco queens from Mars over like the full rhythm. You know what I mean? So that was a great memory too for Dub Club. As far as Punky Reggae, we've had some amazing shows happen there. Ari Up from the Slits came through and did a show and got on the mic with us as well to toast over stuff. That was awesome. We had really cool bands like the Wedding Present, and John Cooper Clarke came and did some poetry there. really a lot of cool stuff.
Don Letts appearance.
Recently, Don Letts came to Punky Reggae to hold court. That was really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lights just played a great show for
Right.
Punky
Yes.
Reggae Party.
Nice anniversary. Yeah. Happy anniversary too, Dave.
Yeah, thanks. Was that like 16 years for Punky
Yeah,
Reggae?
man, congratulations. I didn't realize boy time flies. Eh?
Yeah,
My
but
goodness.
one other
Really?
personal highlight for me at Dub Club was the night that you had Ethiopian, Leonard Dillon, and Maytones back by
Absolutely.
They had just moved downstairs.
yeah.
Yeah, I still have that flyer on my fridge.
That was
Yeah.
double bill.
Beautiful show, yes, with the expanders backing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Man.
Indeed.
Amazing sound.
Yes.
Yeah, so
very
Boss
much.
Harmony, you've had the opportunity to DJ multiple shows, multiple places, ska, rocksteady, punk events. Is there one particular place that you'd love to DJ?
That you've not yet.
A place.
Whether it's a country or a festival or club or with an artist or whatever that might be.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever some great band for the Hollywood Bowl. I wouldn't mind doing a set at the Hollywood Bowl. You know?
Yeah, Tom worked. Right? Has Tom worked there?
Yeah, I think maybe Tom did.
Yeah.
Maybe Tom did
Yeah.
once. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that comes to mind as a big, huge venue that would be cool just to play some old rock. I remember seeing Radiohead at the Hollywood Bowl, and they were playing for the whole first hour before the show started. It was old rocksteady music, like Treasure Isle rocksteady. And
So who was the DJ?
There was no DJ, but I'm pretty sure they were behind
They're probably
putting
recording.
that music on before their show. I thought
Yeah,
that was
that's often the case with.
What's the name of the group again?
Radiohead, big rock band.
Big rock act.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big in the 2000s.
I'll play him for you after this session, Jimmy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Nice.
You know, Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's like iconic. The Hollywood Bowl.
yeah.
I hate to
Oh, yeah,
say
well,
it, but it's like
Elegant.
once you do it, it's that's it. You know, you're up there with Alvin.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
one of the most
That's
elegant
true.
venues
That's true.
west of the Mississippi.
Indeed.
I did the Troubadour opening for Jimmy Smith. That was pretty cool. As a Punky Reggae Party. That was fun. Yeah.
That is really cool.
I don't
But
remember
you
what year
can't,
that
you
was.
can't underestimate playing also at the Cali Fest. I mean, that's big, 20,000.
Cali Fest is really cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got Kelly
Yep.
vibe.
I mean, you can't sneeze at that.
Yeah, I said Jimmy Smith. I meant Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah, you can't.
I saw
sneeze.
Jimmy Smith at Catalina's Bar and Grill back in the
Yeah,
day.
there we go.
Wow.
Jimmy
Cool.
Cliff. Ian, question for you.
Yeah.
Rocksteady Lounge, where you hold court. What's special about that spot?
What's okay? So it's
And how long have you been spending there?
I took over. I think it's been 8 years since I took over. I was okay. Yeah, I started out in the Valley in the Scotland Yard. Then I worked with Marv Mack for a while, doing the Soul Side and Trojan Lounge. And then after Dave and after Victor and Nina left, I took over and just manning the turntables, the needles, making sure everything works really good. And Rain or Shine, it's gonna be there third Thursday of the month. We gone through different days. We used to have it like Sundays, every Monday,
Right.
but it's a very popular bar, and like really, you walk in there any night, no cover. It's really chill. So
Sorry, I just want to say you mentioned me, but I never was a
oh
regular.
no, Chris. I'm sorry, Chris. Rocksteady
Rocksteady Chris, yeah.
Rocksteady Chris. Yeah, my bad.
Great
But
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes.
And well, it's I like to give access to people to come and like start their DJ career kind of deal, kind of vet them in.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
It's-
on
it's-
Thursday nights, right? On your
third Thursday of the month,
Right.
Rocksteady Lounge, me and Terry, we're gonna be there.
Mhm.
And it's got the disco ball on the dance floor, sometimes it
Great
hasn't
room.
happened. Yeah, with the baby powder and the mirrors. It's nice. It's nice. It's definitely there's a similar room like that in Tijuana, but the disco ball and the dance floor is it's a must, I think, for the lights to be off. You know, if the lights are on, it really a mood killer. We're talking about that, you know. And if we're lucky, we could get the fog light, the fog machine to come on. That's
Nice.
And you've had some international DJs play there, Tommy Forris and even Keaton Tex appeared there one night.
Yeah, Keith and
For the
Tex.
fire.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, you guys, you know, Persephone, you always
No, that was Persephone.
like
Can't take it.
everybody, like family, you know. And if anybody wants to plan to do something with us, like we had Los Agrios do their debut right there. You know, sometimes Angelo comes, Angelo, Greg from, I mean, you know, the
Yeah.
Happy Cat people come down. It's an accessible place, you know, and the pizza across the street is fantastic. The garage pizza right there.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, boss Army introduced me to the pizza place across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ian, talk about how DJing in Tijuana and San Diego compared to Los Angeles. What are some of the sameness and some of the differences?
Well, definitely, it's accessible to everybody, you know. People love the music. It's just sometimes people like when there's a big show in LA and they're not hitting other places up. The closest they'll go maybe is, you know, to the border. So we had something like this one, like the Traveler show.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah, you know, and it worked out because the Travelers they can't come to the this side, and a lot of people aren't gonna go all the way to Mexico City to see them. So it served kind of like a good melting pot right there, you know. And we have a good little crew over there, Reggae del Norte, and we'll work with whoever wants to work with us, you know. And we have um, we have access to like some breweries and other like venues and things like that, and just cooperating and making a scene happen. You know, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, pretty much. Want you, Miss Ivy?
Ivy, question for you, and similar but different. Is there much crossover between the ska reggae scenes in Tijuana and San Diego as far as fans and selectors? Like, are there a number of fans who might cross the border, both sides, to see certain shows and to experience certain DJs or see bands?
Definitely. A lot of people from San Diego cross the border all the time for parties over here. Even if it's not like some big name from out of town or whatever, if it's a solid lineup and they know that the selectors can hold their set, they'll come over. Even if the news are telling you not to cross the border because everything is getting out of control over here, is pretty much not the truth. Over here, uh, people that have come to TJ or that come to TJ regularly, they realize that there won't be no problems if you don't get yourself into any problems. Pretty much, if you behave, if you're not acting a fool, if you're not being disrespectful towards the people around you, you won't find any issues around you. If you don't behave like just like an out of touch with reality fool, you won't find
Rude boy.
yourself in any kind of issue.
Right, rude boy, rude girls. Yeah.
So a lot of people from Southern California and around TJ, Ensenada, Tecate, Mexicali, uh, it's really uh, it's pretty normal to see them over here at any given Friday, even if there's nothing really going on. They come by because it's fun, because people here love to go out, and there are a lot of great places to go out and have over here.
And are there a number of DJ club nights, and TJ specializes in some of the ska, rocksteady, early reggae sounds.
Yeah, there are many crews in TJ, ska, reggae, rocksteady, dub. Those genres are pretty much well accepted and received in Mexico altogether. But in TJ, since you got the border right here, you can get records easier. You can bring bands easier. You can bring selectors from across the border easier because they don't have to hop on a plane. They can just come across the border,
Yep.
do the little show, have fun, go back.
So before I ask Miss Ivy the next question, so about someone you feel so threatened that you go put on your the gun club shirt.
I
I
had
can't
to put
shoot it through the. You think I can
So-
shoot it through the computer?
What's that? No, man.
Hey, that's dangerous, man.
It's just I had to put a sweater on because the door is open, man.
And I left my gun home, but that's all right.
Don't feel no way.
The gun club, Mary Kate and Ashley right there.
Right. So Miss Ivy, I was thinking with you. So some of your musical influences and DJs who have influenced your career over the years.
The people that I grew up with, I
Or
feel
DJs?
the people that I grew up here, like local people that I saw playing or hosting their own nights when I was a little baby. I remember seeing Miss Boss Karina, and I feel
legend.
so fortunate to be able to share a stage with her
Yeah.
and be able to work with her because she's someone that I look up to for so many years. She's one of the true OGs,
You're
not
not
just in TJ Rosarito scene, in all of Mexico. So big props to her. I'm so fortunate to be able to work with her.
And you're
Her and
related.
Michael Orthodox, they're such sweethearts. They're amazing to work with, so professional. I love them so much.
Yeah.
You know,
That's great.
Karina.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
yes,
She
yeah,
goes way back.
Yeah, we actually spoke with her. She was part of our first Boss DJs panel
And-
as well.
And
So
she
that
was juggling my memory. My dentist is in TJ, so I'm down here regularly. And she was reminding me that we met at the Larry Lakin show in
in
Pomona.
Pomona.
Yeah. What year was that?
I'll tell you,
Is it?
it was July of '99.
Let me refer to the poster.
That was Laurel Aiken's last tour out here. Yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it. Right.
You know, he was
Yeah,
a big
so-
deal when Moonscott put out his CD. You know, he was one of the younger. I mean, like the original guys that got put out.
Very
Put
much
out. You know, that's Laurel Aiken. Big up.
We were
Very-
lucky enough
very
to
much
host
so.
his last show.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I'll never forget that. Donald, Soul Station #1. So you played in at least two, very highly influential LA scene bands, the Allentons, Melting Pot. For those who may not be too familiar with either of those bands or those that are, why don't you talk about how you joining those bands came about?
Okay, the Melting Pot started probably around 93, 94. Just being a high school kid, being influenced by the music we were listening to, a lot of Fishbone, a lot of Chili Peppers, a lot of P-Funk, a lot of Bad Brains, a lot of Bob Marley, a lot of Skylight, stuff like that. And, me come from Hamilton, and the trumpet player Paul Vargas coming from Hammy too. We were horn players. We wanted to play like some ska stuff. We wanted to play some horn heavy stuff. And we hooked up with some buddies of mine from Pedro, and they were really talented musicians. They loved all kinds of music, but at the time they were like in a death metal band, and they had
That's
like
that
some
Music Academy, right? That's the Hamilton Music Academy.
Hamilton Music
Yeah,
Academy.
that's like a magnet, no? Like
Yeah, magnet school right there off of Robertson Boulevard, 10 Freeway. Yeah, I was part of the first 9th grade class they had there at that high school. But started playing with Melting Pot, started doing those ska punk shows, Real Big Fish, a lot of Aquabat shows, Pocket Lint from Long Beach, played with them a lot. Janus Against Apartheid. We got signed to Stiff Dog Records with Daryl Rubio. And that's how I met Lewis through Steady Beat Records, because those guys were friends.
Right.
And later on, Melting Pot was still playing, but the year after I graduated high school, I played in this short-lived hip hop group that was based out of UC Irvine, and Justice League was the name of the group. We got to open up for De La Soul down at the Coach House, San Juan Capistrano. But there was this guy named Orrin, and Orrin Avenari, and his brother Aton Avenari was in that band.
Okay.
And Orrin was in a band called World Tribe from the PV area, and they played like kind of like a poppy. I think I call it the Cali Roots Reggae before it was titled Cali Roots Reggae.
Yeah.
You know, World Tribe, and I think it was Common Sense back in those days, doing that kind of like poppy reggae stuff.
Right.
And then couple years later, Allentons were playing, and I guess their drummer passed away at that time. They had a drummer who died, and they added some other musicians, and they needed an extra horn player. At the time, I was playing a lot of Barry sax. They needed a Barry sax player. So Lewis told me about that band. I joined them, and then later on, I found out that Aton was in that band also. So that's when I started playing with the Allentons. That was probably like 96, 97.
Mm-hmm. And I think when we spoke with Robert Satana from Allentons, I think he said that they were influenced by seeing Mobtown. Right?
Yeah, Melting Pot used to play a lot of shows with Mobtown back in the days.
Yeah.
That's when a whole bunch of like ska punk and traditional ska bands would play together on the same bill, and it was
right.
It was good, nice little mix.
Yeah, very much so.
So while your microphone is still open, Donald, in bygone years, you collaborated a lot with Luis Carrera. Can you talk about your relationship with King Steady Beat? You touched on it briefly, but elaborate some.
Yeah, like I said, when I first joined the Allentons through Lewis, I got to be on that second album with the Allentons, En Route. And that's when me and him really started collaborating a lot. I opened up a studio in San Pedro about 9 years ago, and a lot of the new stuff that's been coming out on Steady Beat Records has been recorded at my studio. And I guess reflecting his collection right now, we're doing a lot of cumbia bands. You know, right. We're doing Spaghetti Cumbia. We did the Commons. Leche Funk. Who else? Some other groups. You know, and then that got me into recording the Commons before they changed into Tropa Mágica. I recorded their first 2 albums over there. And I think Lewis is just taking advantage of me being in Pedro and using my studio. So that's my connection with Steady Beat right now.
Did you do Los Agrios? Was that
Los Agrios recorded? Yeah, they record Steady Beat release at my studio also. Yeah.
Yeah. Donald, we talked off air about this, but it's absolutely worth talking about here. So Allentons had the opportunity of backing a few legends over the years. One being probably the first one, and one of the first legends that was paired with a local band in the Allentons, and that was Eric Morris, right down in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what you remember about that one, and then also the second one that I'm aware of being Rico Rodriguez right here at the El Rey, right?
That was a great show too.
Talk about working with the legends.
I remember Monty. It was so cool. I was working at a music store with Aton, and I remember rehearsing at the music store with Monty Morris, clearing out the center of the music store, setting up all the equipment, and Monty's up there just singing, you know, in the middle of a music store. It was just surreal. And it was just so cool just to hear that voice in person, you know, after all those years of those classic tunes, and seeing this little guy who was there from the beginning, you know. Junior, it wasn't even like the first vocalist to sing with the Skylights. Did I hear that right before?
I haven't seen any document, but I saw it on YouTube, but I have no way of verifying any information, but we could find out. I'm not sure. I know he started when Derek Morgan took him to the studio. So I think that preceded Tanamo. Yeah, I think that was before. It could be very well be true.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But he started out very young. He's 2 years younger than Derek. And when Derek got the opportunity to take him to the studio, he did. That was the first recording I think was done with Prince Buster. Prince
Right.
Buster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another story. But I think that's where he cut his teeth first with Prince Buster.
Yeah, Monty just had a lot of energy for being his age. I just remember playing those
I-
songs, and he was just dancing the whole time.
I kid you not, he still has the energy. He did a
Yes.
show in Florida recently. The same response.
Wow.
Same response.
Well, and he'll be coming back here to Pomona August 5th.
Yes,
Right.
indeed, sir.
Yes.
Mhm.
Um,
And what I remember about Rico was just a master, doing those songs. We added like 3 extra horn players to our band that night, and just hearing those harmonies and those old stories that he would just talk about, from the Skylights days. He would tell stories about the specials and whatnot, and
yeah.
rolling those spliffs with tobacco. Like, what are you doing? We keep it green out here in Cali.
I remember when we put together the band for Rico, and he said, "Junior, where you get these rascal kids from?" That was a blow. And then he found that one or two of the guys kind of felt offended, and he softened up, and it turned out to be a wonderful experience.
Rico was one of
Where you bring these kids from, sir?
one of the sweetest. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we got to rehearse over at Joey's studio for that show. I remember that.
Yeah, exactly where we were, Joey's studio.
Indeed.
Shout out to Sterney on the Barry sax at that time.
Dave, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I recall a memory of Rico coming to Dub Club around that time, and he seemed fine up until the dance hall music started, like the more modern stuff, and he was just like, "Just get me out of here, man." He couldn't take it. He hated the modern stuff, and because also was really loud,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Dave, real quick, you're a musician as well. You play the drums, right?
Yeah.
Talk about some of the bands or type of music that you've played over the years. Since we were talking about musicianship here with Donald.
Well, I didn't always play. I just dabbled in stuff. Never really seriously. But I started playing drums with a band called Warpaint.
Yeah.
And I was in that band for about a year, and that sort of kick-started me into playing a little bit more. So after that, I was doing I did some cover bands. My friend was doing a night called Part-Time Punks, and he wanted to do a Rough Trade themed night, the label Rough Trade.
Yeah.
So he wanted to play all kinds of stuff off of from the early days of this British label. It was very eclectic mix of stuff. And so we put together a band that did all these covers from different bands, everything from like Aztec Camera to like, God, I don't know, London Underground, all these like really weird post-punk bands, Kleenex. And after that, we did a Slits cover band. It was really fun. It was just like, like 13 girls and me on the drums. Because actually in the Slits originally, it was later on, it was a guy drummer. It was Pudgy from Susie and the Banshee. And then from that grouping came the band Sex Stains. That was
Los Angeles or
Yeah, you took that towel from me.
Yeah, Sex Stains was with Allison Wolf, who was in a band called Bratmobile back in the 90s.
Okay.
And my friend Sharif, and also Patchy, who a lot of people know as Patchy Man now.
Right.
So Patchy was the bass player in Sex Stains, and we had a really great run with that band. And then after that, I was in a band called Uzels with my friend Dante Ariola, who is amazing. But the pandemic came down, like the shutdown came down the same week that our record came out.
Oh, wow.
So that just kind of killed us. In fact, once we actually got back together to go ahead and have a record release party, the band was breaking up. So it was our record release party / last show ever. And now I've just been jamming with my friend Art from Very Be Careful. So we're just messing around. So it's really sounding cool.
So that's mostly challenging though, playing so many different genres of music.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, right. Wow.
I've never really played like I've never played like one thing. I bring the influences into the bands that I played in, especially with Uzels. There was a lot of Ethiopian rhythmically, a lot of Ethiopian influence there. Like there was even I remember buying this Ethiopian wedding record. It was just Ethiopian wedding music, traditional. Wow. And my God, is that party music? It's incredible. Wow. So I just learned some of those rhythms. I took that rhythm and I brought it to the band and we made a song with that, you know.
Interesting.
Things like that, you know. And there was a little bit of Jamaican one tune that was influenced by Jamaican rhythms on the Sextains record. So yeah, just messing around, you know.
That's great.
A question to all. What is your most valued piece of vinyl? Just one piece. And is it because of rarity or you stole it or
or it could be for sentimental reasons, right?
Yes, stole, right? What else?
Oh yeah. Well, sentimental, it's funny, Junior. I am sentimental and I do carry a box. I have an LP box and I also have a 45 crate that is full of original records signed by the artists that have played at Dub Club over the years or at your guys' events too. So for example, you know, when Alton Ellis was in town and Rico and all those great artists that you guys had, I had them sign the 45s that, you know, and all those records. I have a beautiful record by Alton signed. And he also had really wonderful handwriting, you know. It was, what's the tune? Remember That Sunday on Duke, but also Can I Change My Mind?
Oh, nice.
So Can I Change My Mind with Alton's signature on it, you could say is a really special record that I have, you know.
Miss Ivy?
The first Cramps records that I got, and I have it by the Cramps, and I have it signed by Lux Interior and Poison Ivy from their last show in San Diego before Lux Interior passed away. Wow. So even though that record right now to me is irreplaceable, I still take it out to spin it because even though it's really special, I still want it to serve its purpose, which is be played and have people exposed to the music. But that's if my whole entire collection was burning, I would try to save that one. I would try.
That's cool.
That's great. What about you, Ian?
Don't slip into unconsciousness.
No. Just
your most valued piece.
You know, like every once in a while, it changes. It changes. Right now, I'm thinking the one I want to listen to the most right now is "Walk in the Dawn" by my boy. I can't think of his name now. "Walk in the Dawn." Maxi Romeo.
Oh yeah.
And it's a rocksteady tune, you know, and it's really mellow. And if you put it on the dance floor, like people really like, you clear the dance floor for sure. But it's what I want to listen to just relax. And when you do play it, and collectors hear it, you're like, they look at you, they're like, hey, thanks. I needed that pat in the back. I really like that one too. So that's what I want to listen to right now, and I got it, and it's like like the Sprite glass green. You look at it, see through, and it's a Jamaican blank, and to me, it's irreplaceable, and that's the. It might not be the most expensive, but that's the record I want to hear right now. If you
But
when you ask me that.
you stick with one genre. You're not all over the place like Miss Ivy. You stick with ska, rock steady.
Well, anything Jamaican. I'll
Right.
even spread it out.
Universal.
Anything Jamaican, because every 2 years they change everything. Like
In what sense? What do you mean change?
every style they change every 2 years.
Now
You
or
know,
back
like
then?
okay, it went R&B, right?
Oh, you mean back
To
then?
ska,
Back then.
right? To
Yeah.
rocksteady. Every 2 years it changes.
Yeah,
Every
they
two
get
years
bored
it
very fast.
changes. Digital, rockers,
And they
and
discard everything and move on to the
and
new.
it's like and it's just a universe. You could travel like this year wise, or you could travel within the year 67 like this, and it's a universe. You haven't heard everything from 67,
Oh, no,
I haven't.
absolutely.
And so there's yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Mhm.
Some Max Romeo.
Right. How about you, Donald?
That was a great show at Dub Club. Max Romeo.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes.
Not that long ago. Incredible performance.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself for
Yes.
missing that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to get him back soon.
That'd be amazing. Donald?
I guess the one record that I look at the most is probably Eric Burden Declares War. I got the rhythm section to sign that album. Especially B.B. Dickerson, the bass player, before he passed away. Back, I got Howard Scott, Charles Miller, the Oscar to sign that. I just need to get Eric Burden to sign that before he goes. But yeah, definitely that Eric Burden Declares War just changed me personally. It made me want to start learning how to play the flute.
Oh wow!
Listen to that band, yeah. So thanks to War, I started playing the flute.
War is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Indeed. Another question for all of you, as we're going to be nearing the end of this episode very soon. Share something that you feel your fans or audience may not know about you, or may be surprised about. And Ian, let's start with you.
Yeah, something.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Let me think. Well, repeat it one more time, and I'll think of something.
It was kind of a fun question. Just, is there anything that your fans or the listeners or viewers of the podcast may not know about you, right, or may be surprised to learn about you?
Okay. So I started. I'm a musician too. I started out with tuba when I was a kid, and I used to have real bad asthma because I'm from Mexico City, and when I got here, they gave me the tuba, and that breathing, it got rid of my asthma.
Wow.
And then thanks to tuba, you can move up to other brass instruments. I learned trombone right away. I know trumpet. It's like, yeah, it's like riding a bike. Once you learn, you don't fall off.
But so have you been in bands?
Yeah, I was in the Mexican ska band Chencha Berrinches.
Oh yeah.
I was.
Here or in Mexico?
Oh, this one's a LA band, and they were like the underground backyard shows.
Yeah, your band was talked about on one of our last sessions with when we interviewed Jose from Matamoska and from Los Kung Fu Monkeys. They talked about.
Oh, yeah, Los Kung Fu Monkeys. They're from Ensenada and Tocadiscos and Almalafa, and when all these people would come up, we would host them over here, and there was
they name checked you on that.
Two big promoters during that time was Marco Aldaco and Jorge Leal.
Okay.
And they ran all the backyard Mexican ska show things. I had another band called División Tlacuache, the
Okay.
Possum Division. So
That's
But
great. It's a great fun fact. That's super cool.
yeah, fun facts.
Fun fact. There we go. Maybe that's how we should award it. Fun
Had
fact.
no idea you're a musician.
Yeah, nice.
Wonderful.
Nice. Miss Ivy, what about you? A fun fact or something that might surprise fans? Anything?
Something that might surprise. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. A lot of people think that I'm like this
Hurry, come up.
new girl. Every couple of years, the new people think that I'm new as well.
Yeah.
I remember
Look young.
a couple months ago, Michael Orthodox was introducing me to somebody else, and he was like, yeah, she's like the up and coming, like the queen of right now. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm 36. What do you mean the new whatever? I've been doing this maybe as long as you have. So a lot of people don't realize that I've been doing this, putting on shows, setting up the whole thing, like from the booking to the promotion to the flyer to the gear setup to paying everyone after the show all by myself. So I'm like the one girl party machine.
Nice way
Yeah,
to describe yourself.
that's amazing.
Yes. And to all of you,
Well,
what upcoming event?
one that we need two more answers
You're kidding.
before we move on.
Yeah.
Donald, what about you?
I could do a really good kickworm. No, no. I love to cook. You know, my mom's from Thailand, so actually I cook some decent Thai food.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll all come over this weekend.
There you go. I got you.
Dave, what about you?
I'm an artist. I do a lot of drawings and woodcuts and paintings. I've done a lot of the artwork for the stuff that, you know, all the dub club flyers over the years, punky, all the flyers for any of the nights that I do all that stuff. But I pulled this out to show.
You do it very well, Dave.
This is the woodcut portraits of members of the band for the single that we made, Uzel's band.
Oh, nice.
You can see this one's me. And here's my hand on the back. It's kind of scary image, you know, but I made this one. This one was for John of the Expanders.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's the character that they sing about, the snow beast.
Right.
And what is that? Is that drawing or wood?
This one is actually carved out. It's a carving. Yeah, it's like a stamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess right.
The dread smoking from his chalice.
Yeah.
Not in Buckingham Palace.
And this is a sculpture that I made of the human fly.
The human fly sound system.
The human high fly sound system, which is another thing that maybe people don't know, is I built a sound system. It's in the front yard. Micah built it. Micah, who has a sound system called Zion Love.
Right.
And yeah, it's a beautiful sound system, and it has fly faces on the speakers and the nuclear symbols on the bass bins. And yeah, I haven't brought it out to a dance yet. I've just been doing things at my home. But one day I'll try to get the sound system out. The way they've been bringing it over to Rocksteady Loungy, and maybe
I'll. Man, we'll take you up at any time, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's
yeah.
The picnic. It was in the reggae sound, no, with just the little picnic, just like a small setup of theirs. It sounded good. It sounded good.
I was too lazy.
Right. Rhythm and blues. Right.
So now, to all, as I started asking the question, where can fans see you spin?
Yeah. So where any regular spots, any guest spots, or anything you want to share as far as what's upcoming? Miss Ivy, how about over to you first?
I'm booked once or twice a month at La Mija. I do Mammoth Brewing maybe 3 times a month. We're going to
That's in
Mexico.
TJ, right?
Yes, that's in TJ. We're going to Mexico City for the After Pioneers show on Sunday. We're putting a Domingo para Crudos show. That means Hungover Sunday. So a lot of the people that are flying out to see the show are bringing some records. So we're putting on a show with Mr. Ian, Miss Karina, Karen Facio, and myself. We're Girl Scout Cookies.
John Offbeat.
John Offbeat from Kinyanga Sound from Guadalajara. Dano Oke, Saul Flores, Nacho Miller from
That's a massive caravan going to Mexico City.
Yeah, it's 9 of us.
Nice.
Young Royal and
the Vespa Club.
Moon Stomper.
Wow.
So big show on the Sunday. Everyone's gonna come out. Early show as well. So 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. we're gonna be spinning in multiple turns. So if you get there early, you get to see everyone's multiple sets. I'm thinking 2 or 3 short sets per head. So we can keep the night flowing and everyone gets to spin throughout the night. It's gonna be really fun.
And what's the date on that one?
That's June 11th on a Sunday.
Okay, nice.
Just around the corner, actually.
Yeah, just a few weeks away. Ian, what about you?
Oh, we just had Rocksteady Lounge. We do the 3rd Thursday of the month. Then I'm gonna go to Tijuana this Saturday. We have at the Mija. And then we're gonna go and do the Pioneers show because it ends up being a weekender over there in Mexico City. And I promise you, Junior, I'm gonna be there in Pomona too, man. I'm gonna be there.
I have no doubt. I think everybody.
Yeah, man. No, it's a good party, man. Mila, everybody puts on such a good production, man. I really appreciate it.
And Ian, you mentioned Rocksteady Lounge. That is in Silver Lake at Akbar, correct?
Yeah. Sunset and Fountain, right there.
3rd Thursdays.
3rd Thursday of the month. Yes.
Rain or shine.
Right.
3rd Thursday.
Yes. Soul Station number 1.
Well, I don't spin as often as I used to, but you'll catch me on occasion spin a set over in San Pedro at Steady Beat Records shop.
Yeah, shout out to Luis.
Yeah, I'll be there. I spin there on occasion. I do have a mixed cloud show where I still do mixes and I upload them there and just be recording bands. I'll be recording Los Agrios really soon with another Steady Beat release coming out probably this fall.
And Allentons are gonna be playing coming up, right? One of your bands?
Yes, I believe that's be coming up in end of the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometime in August.
Sometime in August. Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
And then also just to shout out to Boss Harms, man. I think I'm on one of those Dub Club DVDs jamming out with Tippa Irie back in the days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fiery.
Yes.
And
Boss Harmony.
yes.
Where can people see you?
Well,
Who haven't seen you, right?
I'm
Who haven't?
if anybody's out in Palm Springs this weekend, I've been DJing a little bit more with the Funky Soul crew.
Nice.
Okay.
They're doing the weekends at the Ace Hotel. So this weekend, Friday night and Saturday poolside, I'll be DJing, funk and soul out there this
Shout out
week.
to Music Man Miles, right?
Music Man
Yeah.
Miles, yeah, and Hymnal, and then I DJ 2 different nights once a month at the Cha Cha Lounge here in Silver Lake.
What style?
Huh?
What style? Little of this, little of that, or your
One night is called Bamboo,
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for actually about 16 years. And
Congrats.
it's Caribbean music. So Jamaica, of course, but there's also some French Caribbean music there. I play African and Latin records. That's all. I mix that, all that up for Bamboo. That's happening on the 16th. No, I'm sorry, the 15th at the Cha-Cha Lounge. On the 3rd, though, at Cha-Cha Lounge, the other night I do is called Strychnine, which is all garage, surf, and R&B records. So that's really fun too.
Yeah.
But all over the place with music too.
And I think Cut Chemist is going to join me for that one as well on the 3rd. So that's going to be.
And then
fun.
The Dub Club.
Yeah.
And then we got the next show. Dub Club is Big Youth.
Shanty and Dreadlocks.
Right.
Big Youth and Roger Rivas doing with his new band doing all Jackie Me Too songs. So how cool is that?
Pretty amazing.
Oh man, I can't wait for that. And then on the flip of that is Leroy Sibley's is coming in the next month after that, July 15th.
Excellent.
And what night is Leroy?
Leroy is Saturday, July 15th, and Big Youth's on Friday, June 9th. See, the club just gives us dates, and so we work around those once a month.
But it amounts to about once a month. Oh yeah, you just said once a month, right?
It's once a month, yeah, once a month.
And then Punky Reggae Party, is that?
No solid dates for that. That's just, here and there. I'll do it
Any specific
right now.
location?
Sorry?
Any specific location or wherever you find?
No, the last 2 times I've done it at Hello Stranger. But I'm not married to anything. I might move it around. I might want to just do a DJ night, somewhere.
DJ, let's make it happen.
All right.
Yeah,
I'd love to come down there.
That would be great.
Road trip.
Before we wrap this up, and we really appreciate everyone's time and sharing stories and your thoughts and your journeys. Any closing thoughts? Anything else that you'd like for fans and listeners and viewers to know?
I would like personally to thank you two for keeping the scene going. I'm sorry to cut in right there. Junior and Eric for just keeping the vibe going, keeping the scene going, keeping the love going. You guys do a lot behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, on the side of the scenes, and I know you guys have been doing it for a long, long time. And me personally, I'd like to thank you two.
For
for all you guys do.
Very kind. Thank you, Donald.
Yeah,
definitely appreciate that.
Second
Thanks
that.
for having us.
Thank you guys. Yeah, memorable experiences here in LA.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I like to say something. DJing's become very popular thing to do. So sometimes you might, one might feel doing this. Sometimes in music, you feel like things just get washed over. There's just so much going on, and you can get a little bit disheartened or whatever. I don't know. Maybe being young and getting into this, but somebody pointed out, or I was talking to somebody the other day that pointed out that if you just stay true to what you're doing and you love what you're doing and you keep doing your thing, it's going to affect people, no matter how big or small the crowd is, it affects people, and it may change a lot of things for them. Like for me, like we were saying, the roots of why we got into this stuff. So, that little show on KXLU really changed my life.
Yeah.
So the little shows that we work on, the little club nights that we're doing, the little band projects that we're doing, they're important to keep doing them and enjoy doing them, even if, it's not, even if it seems like a very humble thing in the moment. And oftentimes those things you look back on them as the most fun and fulfilling times too. So,
I think that's a great point. I mean, discovery alone, I think just from being at shows and listening to DJ spin and just discovering, right, or rediscovering, right, or brings back memories, right, or it's powerful. It really is. And you all do such an incredible job, and it is an art form, and clearly from these conversations tonight, you all love what you're doing, right? And put a lot of heart and soul into it. So,
But additionally, some great philosopher said it's not just art form, but it's the greatest art form, music. It takes second place to none. Music. All
universal.
All in.
I believe it. It's so true.
If music be the food of love, I'll forever play on.
Here we go.
So I guess everyone gave their closing
Yeah.
thoughts, right?
Anything else before we part ways here?
Eric, you play with Western Standard Time?
Me?
You mean instrument?
Oh, I
Yeah.
wish.
No. Okay, I just remembering a show I saw at Dub Club was the Western Standard Time with Angelo and Malik and
Oh, yeah.
Persephone, and they did
Not at Dub
all
Club.
they did all the covers with the original singers, and it was really.
I think you was brought up on stage to acknowledge you for it was a fundraiser. Am I
Yeah,
right? Am I right?
I might have, yeah. I think it might have not been the Dub Club, but I think it was at the Echoplex.
At the Echoplex, okay.
Yeah, but Eric bought a trombone, and that's as close as he. Did you?
Oh, no, I can't, unfortunately, I can't play an instrument of my
But you look like a jazz cat.
Yeah,
Rico had such profound effect on him that he went and buy a trombone.
Well, this is a true story. True story. We talked about Rico earlier, and I'll always cherish my time with Rico. But he, the first time he came over and played the El Rey Theater, this show right here, he could not bring his trombone
from England.
So I told Rico and his wife that I would go out and buy this particular trombone. He would use it. He would bring his mouthpiece, but he would use the trombone, and then I would keep it. I've always wanted to learn how to play the trombone. So he played it. It sat in my condo closet. I pulled it out a couple of times. I tried to play it. I thought about lessons, never did. Jason Lawless, rest in peace, Jason Lawless. Was putting together and was collecting instruments to send to Alpha Boys School. So I said,
"Wow,
this
full circle, full circle."
Yeah, full circle. Well, Rico got his start. I basically donated this trombone that back to Alpha, which I thought was pretty.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's funny. I've always fancied trying to play the trombone as well.
Me too.
So Ian, maybe you can teach me the trombone one of these days.
It's sliding, man. I'm telling you. Once you play a couple of times and then you hear Don Drummond, you go like, no, this guy is like.
No, several people have said that. I share one story with you. Carlos Malcolm said that he had written a musical part, and there was no either trumpet or one of those brass. So he hadn't written a part for Dan because he didn't know. I'm not sure why. But Dan started playing trumpet with the trombone, and he said for like a month, he couldn't touch his trombone again. Because he heard Dan. Dan was he was just
like that. That's I mean it's like Don Drummond right here. Yes. Then it's Don Drummond Jr. right here, and then it's Rico. But I mean, like you could clearly tell the chops of all three just by listening to them. For real.
Hey, that's just like your opinion, man.
They're all amazing.
Different styles.
Yeah, it's exactly, man.
I know. I hold Rico in really high regard.
No, but I mean, like it's like Sugar Belly. Like he got this clarinet with the car horn and duct taped up, and he made this Jamaican instrument. There's no horn in the world that sounds like Sugar Belly, man.
But Boss Harmony, you can't get away with this because it has been documented by numerous people that Dan Drummond was among the fourth greatest. It's beyond opinion now.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
Who has ever lived, not in Jamaica, but around the world. That was my closing point.
Absolutely.
He's walking the planet.
Absolutely. But if you recall,
he had an opinion, Rasta.
He had Don Drummond here, and then he said he said
Vin
Dr.
Gordon.
Jr., which is Vin Gordon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And he put
Well,
Rico
that's
under.
debatable. That's debatable. Right.
I hate to do it. I hate to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I put Ruben Durazo, who has been playing with us on stage at the Dub Club and also plays with Dirty Heads. I don't know if you know Ruben.
Yeah, big up.
Ruben is an amazing trombone player. He's really great. And I just wanted to give him a little shout out there because he's been playing trombone over reggae for years and years and years and years now, and I've seen him progress into a beast. Now he's just like, we could just throw on any record. Doesn't even have to be in key or in the tone, you know, like with the pitch shift, right? So if you give a musician a record, you play a record for a musician and it's not pitch shifted, if it's in between, they're going to have a hard time finding the key.
Not Ruben.
But Ruben comes right in. I swear to God, it only takes him 3 seconds to find the note and start blowing right over it in perfect key.
Wow.
Pitch. Amazing.
Yeah.
Big up Ruben as a
Big
trombone player in the reggae scene.
Well, we want to thank everyone for the ongoing support. We're going to say something.
No, I was going to say thank you, Miss Ivy Satana, Soul Station #1, Donald Lewis, Mr. Ian.
Thank you guys.
Olivera,
Big respect. Big respect.
Boss Harmony, aka Boss Harms, David Orlando. Thank you guys. And
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Don, man.
Nice to meet you guys.
Bye.
Oh, some of you guys are meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
bringing everyone together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Try to come down to Tijuana soon.
We need to.
Thank you, guys.
We're trying to. Are you down there?
Make it happen.
Let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know, I should take credit. I used to throw events down in Tijuana during the days when nobody was crossing the border. In 2012, when we took Pat Kelly there, no one came across, apart from the Delirians.
Right.
Yeah.
But those were rough days indeed.
Rough days.
But Pat Kelly said,
Post-town
"Hey,
TJ.
rude boy from Jamaica, man, we're going anywhere."
Well, hope to see you guys at the big youth show for sure, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for me.
September
I'm
9th.
going to Santa Cruz.
It's the 9th, right? The 9th?
I'm gonna have to find a way to make it.
Yeah, man.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you all, and thanks everyone for the ongoing support. If you can, please subscribe to this podcast series and our YouTube channel. Follow at History of LA Ska on Instagram and join our Facebook group. Please follow this gentleman at Junor Francis.
And this series is produced by Rockery Radio at Rockery_radio, of course, by Eric, my good friend.
And again, until next time, much respect. Thank you all very much. And please get out and support your local music scene. Until next time, take care, everyone.
All right. Goodbye.
All right.
Bye. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye.